Meditation. Learning to meditate has probably been one of the best skills that that has helped me in my career. And I know so many people who are successful in both business and in the tech world who owe their success so much to meditation. And so some of you might be thinking, oh, this is kind of about like finding your inner peace or finding your spirituality, but it's really not. It's about training your mind to move past distractions. Everything in meditation is about learning about these unhealthy trains of thought and allowing them to live on their own as you move forward with what's important. And I would really recommend you check out this book called Search Inside Yourself by Jae Tong. He's one of the original Googlers and wrote a book teaching engineers how to meditate. And you can imagine that engineers are definitely not the most sciencey, like new agey types. I wanted to end off with a couple of keynote tips. The first one is use high quality pictures. General rule of thumb is 2 megapixels or larger. Grains will show up if you use low quality pictures. Animations take time. I showed you this slide from earlier, but what I didn't mention is this doesn't come in Keynote. So I actually had to create each individual aspect of it by hand. It probably took 2 to 3 hours, but it came off as worth it when I finally gave the presentation at the end of my internship. And finally, always end with a thank you. Thank you. I would be glad to take any questions as far as presenting, or if you have questions about big data, or working at a big company, or entrepreneurship, or the new venture competition, just anything you'd like to ask about. Yes?
What's your morning routine?
Well, when I was doing the new venture competition, my morning routine was wake up at 6 in the morning so I could do my grading, and then immediately at 8 a.m. I'd answer all my emails, go straight to class, and then do all my homework, and then night come home and just work on new venture stuff until midnight every day. Now that I'm not doing the new venture competition, I wake up at about 8:30, make myself breakfast, watch Adventure Time, and then eventually get to class. Any more? Yes?
So did you mostly learn your public speaking skills just through the new venture competition, or did you also do like Toastmasters or classes?
So I would say it would be like 33, 33, 33. I learned a lot by doing UCSB Capstone because there's an amazing professor named Janet Kafetz. She sometimes teaches speech writing classes. She switches off between UCSB and Columbia. If you ever see a class taught by her, take it immediately. I also learned a lot because during my internship, we essentially had to prep to give a presentation to the director and possibly even the CIO of the company. And so they gave us like multiple sessions on how to build keynotes, how to talk with confidence, how to prep for an interview, and all that stuff. And then finally, with the new venture competition, I'm pretty sure I'm like 50% of the reason that Dave Armando was bald, because I caused that guy so much stress with how often I came to go over my speech with him. Yes?
How do you, so there's obviously the conscious things that I'm seeing now, but how do you influence the subconscious part when you're presentation?
So one thing I didn't go into enough detail that I wish I kind of talked about a little bit more as far as ebb and flow is dynamics. One thing that's really, really good as far as like getting people to listen to you is that if you like start talking a little bit more softly, people will kind of lean in, they'll hear everything you say, and then if you really come out with something that's important, all of a sudden they just jolt awake and hear exactly what you're trying to talk about. Yes?
Starting your business from your garage, could you talk about that, kind of like what you did in there and how you do it or how you sold it or whatever?
Totally. I mean, like, the funny thing about starting a business is there were a lot of parallels between kind of building up a business and building up my kind of music career. And what I found was that, like when I was doing music, there was never some moment where I thought, holy crap, like I'm starting to gain momentum. It was literally a small victory after a small victory after a small victory. Like one little blog would post it, and then, oh shit, I guess I could play at this open mic night, and then slowly snowballing. And with a business, it's just, you literally just answer email after email after email, and have conversation after conversation, and eventually you look behind you and you notice you have a business. Like, I'd say like 80% of running a business is just answering emails and phone calls.
What was your business in your garage?
So my business was Milo. It was the winner of the New Venture competition last year. We developed a personal breathalyzer that you could wear in your wrist. They're still doing it. I decided to continue with my master's and go off into my field because I like being an engineer. Yes?
Once you develop the skill of meditation, do you continue to practice that? Like
Yeah.
on a daily basis, a weekly basis, or just try to be present in everything you do, or what kind of things do you do with that?
So the best thing you can do is kind of start building a habit of it. Honestly, 10 minutes a day, like, and I know every time I say that, like, say it to someone, you get like the, oh, that sounds nice, and then they don't actually do it. And I can promise you, holy shit, does it make a difference in your life, especially if you read that book. Because it goes into the very practical of like, here's what meditation will actually do for you, here's how you actually do it, and honestly, it will make you like 5 times more productive. You know,
Really quick, what was the name of the book that was about?
yeah, totally. It's called Search Inside Yourself. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but Chagrin Khan, he actually teaches meditation classes at Google now, and he's like personal friends with the Dalai Lama, and he's like super respected in the tech industry. And I actually got this because my roommate this summer was a Google employee, and like his entire team pushed it on him crazy hard, and he loved it and gave it to me, and it made a big difference. Yes.
Just how did you start Milo? Like, what was the first step in making that company?
So the first step was I went to the New Venture competition kind of like intro thing, and I like a bunch of people gave pitches, and one girl gave a pitch that didn't have the word social media in it, and that's the one I jumped on. Because I thought it sounded cool, and frankly I just really wanted to get the degree. And then all of a sudden we started making it, and we were making really cool designs and getting like really good feedback, and all of a sudden we had like business lawyers trying to like work with us, and like potential investors sitting us down and saying, all right, do X, Y, and Z, and I'll give you $250,000. And just, yeah, like if things move fast if you're meeting the right people. But yeah.
What was the New Venture competition?
Oh, it's amazing. They're actually just starting the cycle right now. I highly recommend you all do it. Essentially, the New Venture competition is you get a group of 4 or 5 people, you build a startup from the ground up, and you start out with a fair, and if you get past the fair into the New Venture competition, then you end up giving a speech in front of like 300 like well-known entrepreneurs from the like Santa Barbara area, and you get judged by a panel. And my team ended up winning $20,000 last year. So it's even if you decide not to go with the business, you end up getting a free trip to Europe based on building a startup from the ground up, which is really cool.
Are you currently working on anything now, like any other like ideas, startup?
So right now I'm not doing a startup. Right now I actually have a really awesome situation. There's a startup downtown named HG Data, and I'm building a really major component of like what they do. And what's really cool about it is I get to present that as my master's project. So I get to like work building something from the ground up. I get to work in the technology I've been really interested in learning, and I get school units for doing so. So that's pretty much been taking all my time right now. I've kind of made the decision that I personally don't want to be the guy in the garage again, but it's not for everyone. I'd rather be someone who comes in when it's like 100 people and brings it to 1,000 people.
So what sector of the tech industry is most like interesting to you?
So, mostly what I'm getting my master's in. So I do machine learning, which is essentially artificial intelligence type stuff, but I do it for what's called distributed computing. And the idea is that when you have like terabytes and terabytes of data, you can't just chug that all into one machine and let it go. So there's all these really cool ways of essentially splitting that data into little pieces, putting it across like massive clusters of computer. And so I get to say that I teach supercomputers how to learn, which is pretty freaking awesome. Anything else? Yes.
What program do you use to make your music?
Logic Studio.